So the UN is already saying the SDGs, the 17 SDGs, the
Yes,
17 SDGs
17.
are, so, based on the smallpox, how hard it was to do one wicked problem, solve one wicked problem. The SDGs are 17 wicked problems meant to be accomplished or achieved by 2030. So just,
Mm.
in our role as strategic foresight people and professionals and strategists, when we're advising companies and we come across something like this, we tell them, so you're saying you're not going to get there. There's no way. You don't believe in them anymore. And the client says, yeah, it's not possible. And then we say, well, suggestion, you cut the aspiration down to something that is believable. Otherwise, you will just have this thing hanging out there that nobody believes in, and it'll sap motivation, and it'll sap commitment, and it'll actually work against you. What do you think of that suggestion that you revisit the plans and you bring them down to earth for the last 5 years?
Absolutely. I actually saw a very technical study that was being done by an international partner in East Africa. And what they were doing was saying, look, as a country, you're not going to be able to work on all of these 17. And it's 17 goals. And then, of course, as you know, there's like 100 things under them. So
Hundreds of things, right?
yeah. And what they were trying to do was to help the country in a very kind of sort of statistical way determine which which one could they choose to focus on that would have the most ripple effect across the others, so that they could just at least choose one to work on. Now, I sometimes am cynical about some of these, very quantitative models that people spend a lot of time doing, because sometimes you do a lot just to, discover what might have been common sense to begin with. But what was interesting was the commentary. I think the point that, as you're saying, you have to figure out, one, how you're going to localize this thing. And local could mean in your national context, it could mean in your village context. And then secondly, as you say, contextualize based on your capability and what seems believable for the space that you've got. And if as a country, it's determining that one goal is what you can deal with, but you're going to try and choose that one well, I thought that's a pretty clever thing to do. Because the alternative, perhaps, as you said, is to throw your hands up and say you can't do any of it, it's all unreasonable.